Welcome back to the news at 10. The Academic Staff Union of Universities at the University of Calabar today announced the suspension of academic activities for 7 days. ASU officials are seeking to draw attention to the kidnap of the wife and daughter of an academic staff and the son of another. According to the body, the solidarity protest seeks to pressure the university authorities, the state and federal government to fish out kidnappers. The kidnapped persons were set to be taken away from their residence at the Unical staff quarters on the 2nd of May and were taken away on a speedboat through the riverine area of the university, which has been a security concern over the years. Meanwhile, the Association of Resident Doctors at the Ladoke Akintola University Teaching Hospital in Osun, Osun State have called on federal authorities to intervene in its ongoing strike. The resident doctors have been on strike for over 7 months on issues relating to unpaid salaries and taxation. At a press briefing today, President of the ARD in Lautech Hospital, Dr. Olayinka Owolabi, explained that there is no existing agreement aimed at addressing the impasse between state authorities and the doctors. Our correspondents made efforts to get the reaction of the Osun State government on these allegations, but the Director for Bureau of Communication and Strategy, Semio Okonawo, says he's not prepared to speak on the issue. For more on the resident doctors' strike, I'm being joined on the news at 10 by the President of the Resident Doctors Association, Lautech Teaching Hospital, Osogbo, Dr. Owolabi Adeyinka. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you.
Dr. Adeyinka, for 7 months, resident doctors in Osun State have been on strike. Why has this dragged on for so long?
Well, thank you for that. It's unfortunate that we are still talking about Lautech Teaching Hospital. For the past 7-8 months, we've been on strike. But I would say that the issue of the strike action is the issue of Lautech Teaching Hospital, as it were, has two faces. There is a chronic aspect to it, dating back to about 5 years ago. But the acute one is actually, I would say, started about 2 years ago. And you will recall that at a point before the issue of bailouts came up, workers in the states actually went on strike agitating for their pay. And we remained the only association that was never on strike at that particular point in time, because we were trying to understand with the government. Unfortunately, bailouts came. Much to our mortification, we discovered that government was only trying to play pranks with us, and that was when the issue of non-payment of salary started, fractionalization of salary. For 2 years now, we've been having issues of shortfall of salary since 2014, and that has equated to members of our association going home with a quarter of what our colleagues in other tertiary teaching hospitals take home. And one would imagine how you expect quality healthcare service to take place in such an hospital. Again, the issue of tax, I would say it's again unfortunate. As we speak, I put it to anyone to verify that Osun State and particularly doctors in Lautech Teaching Hospital happen to be the highest paying tax payer in the country. As we speak, we pay double what our other colleagues that are even taking more than 4 times what we are paying. We are paying double their tax. That is the situation. And
have you been able to, how responsive has the government been? When I say government, the state government, how responsive has it been to your plight? Because I'm sure that at several times you have tried to get the attention of the government.
Well, thank you very much. It will be obvious to everybody that the only reason why this is still happening is because government has not been alive to our responsibilities. We've made every effort to actually ensure that we find a solution, we get to the end of this matter. But it appears to everyone that government has decided to destroy the only state-owned teaching hospital in the states, and also to deny the people of tertiary healthcare facility. As we speak, lives are being lost. You know, it's sad that doctors, having gone through the rigor of training in medical school and all of that, cannot pay their kids' school fees. They are being ejected from their by their landlords. Even, you know, it's ridiculous when somebody that have you know, contributed so much to the system. I'm talking about senior colleagues now, but even in the teaching hospital, that cannot boast of being able to pay the tuition of, you know, kids. It's that is the situation. That is, you know, I don't want to get emotional about it, but the situation is critical, and it's very, very, very tense.
Now, you spoke about lives being lost, and you say you're not able to fend for your families and so on.
Yes.
In the light of what is going on now, what is the solution to all of this?
The solution is for the government to come out with, you know, every sense of sincerity, and that is why this is still happening. For us, we've shifted grounds on a lot of occasions just to ensure that we actually get to the end of this. And the most recent is the April 15 meeting that we actually had at the instance of the Chief of Staff of the states. We had some discussions, but unfortunately, government again reneged on those discussions that we had. We were supposed to have a follow-up meeting that never saw the light of the day, and that's why we are still where we are. And I think it's, you know, it's ridiculous that, you know, doctors will be on strike for 7 months, and the state government seems unperturbed about the situation, because that's really what is happening here.
Dr. Owolabi Adeyinka, thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
We turn to other issues now. The crisis over the zoning arrangements in the People's Democratic Party appears to be generating more controversies, as comes as some leaders in the Southwest believe that it is the right of the region to produce the national chairman of the party. Today in Akure, at the instance of the Ondo State Governor, Olusegun Mimiko, several leaders of the PDP, including Chief Bode George, Governor Ayo Fayose of Ekiti State, and former presidential spokesperson Doyin Okupe, met to resolve their differences. After several hours, the PDP leaders agreed to unite to enable them achieve the party's aim of returning to prominence in 2019. From there, we turn to business news. Here's Anne Mawodo.
You first. First Bank.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. The financial derivatives company has projected a steep rise in April inflation to 13.2%. According to the company's Outlook report released yesterday, the figure is higher than the one in March, which stood at 12.8%. The expected rise in inflation is expected to pose a great challenge to the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank, which has barely recovered from the spike in March. Factors expected to lead to this increase in inflation are lingering fuel scarcity and rising transport costs and even food prices. FDC further states that it expects a slight slowdown in inflation in May towards 12.5%. The Lagos State government is seeking to enhance small and medium-scale entrepreneurs by ensuring availability of funds and creating access to markets. The government hopes to achieve this through its Employment Trust Fund. The State Deputy Governor, Mrs. Oluranti Adebule, gave this assurance at the opening of the first Lagos State Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Fair. She said the program will boost local production, stimulate export and enhance the state's revenue.
The major challenges of SMEs is access to finance. In order to address this challenge, this administration established the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund with a seed capital of 25 billion, out of which 6.25 billion has been released. This initiative is in recognition of the fact that chief among problems of SMEs operators is access to markets. We are convinced that if the Lagos State government is able to provide marketing support for SMEs by showcasing their products to the general public and thus facilitating the market penetration of such products, it will stimulate demand and supply of their products. The multiplier effect of this can better be imagined.
Lagos State Deputy Governor Mrs. Olurantsi Adebule. The federal government has slammed Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company with a sum of 784 billion naira as compensation for oil spills in the Niger Delta region. President Muhammadu Buhari has authorized the Attorney General of the Federation and the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency to begin legal action against the oil firm on behalf of 350 communities in Delta and Bayelsa states affected by the 2011 Bonga oil spills. According to reports, the government is demanding a separate sum of 495 billion naira as restitution and restoration of Nigeria's territorial waters and 50 million naira as cost of this legal action. Shell admitted to spewing out 40,000 barrels of crude oil into the sea. The non-removal of the Nigerian Stock Exchange from the MSCI Frontier Markets by Morgan Stanley has now brought some positive sentiment to equities. Following investors' reactions to this news, some broker-dealers have interpreted this decision as a vindication of the market.
In the market, it's a positive sign. It vindicates the position that the Nigerian stock markets haven't done anything wrong as to be delisted. And in a time like this, when IMF says Nigeria is not one of the growing economies in Africa any longer, and the World Bank says Nigeria is not an investment destination that is worth going to, whatever we can get as a positive commentary on the economy of Nigeria or the stock market is welcome.
The all-share index retracted by 58 basis points at the close of today's trading, and that's after Tuesday's strong opening. For more details on the equities transaction, here is Bolaji Akinwale.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Investors took profit at the midweek trading as shown in the key market indicators. The all-share index shed 0.58% to close at 25,715.42. The market's capitalization closed at 8.84 trillion naira. Market volume closed at 330.5 million units of shares valued at 2.25 billion naira and traded in 4,053 deals. On the advances table, Tiger Brands led with 10% gain. Eternal Oil and Earth Services and Logistics also recorded 9.88% and 9.52% in the upside. On the decliners table, ETI topped with 5.16%. It was followed by PZ and Fitsin with 5% and 4.91% each. On the volume chart, FBN Holding, UBA and Fidelity Bank pulled the highest volume of shares. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
And a combination of lower earnings from energy stocks and mining giants sent global markets around the world reeling today. Let's see the figures. And with those figures, we round off business news tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Umawadu. It's back to you, Amarachi, for the rest of the news.
You first. First Bank.
Coscharis Motors, merchants of different car brands, including Ford, have introduced 2 new models into the Nigerian market. The new vehicles are 2016 models of the Ford Explorer and Ford Figo. Both vehicles possess friendly features and were unveiled at a media parley in Lagos.
The latest models of the Ford Explorer and Figo are in the Nigerian market, and the company responsible for bringing them, Coscharis Motors, says it's poised to really take care of its customers.
The package for the Ford Protect offers free service for 4 years or 120,000 kilometers of your drive. Coscharis Motors will service the vehicle for the buyer free of charge.
Just a few years ago, the worry was how to maintain the car as well as get parts. Coscharis seems to have got that covered. Moreover, there are new features that aren't in older models.
For the 2016 model, you can stay in your room while dressing up for work. You stay in your room, you would use your key and start the vehicle. This 2016 model has a wider fog lamp.
And the cars are unveiled. Followed by spin around town. The company is proud to take us around their facilities. The extensive service plan, which has become the Ford Protect plan, covers not just the Explorer and Figo, but every Ford model across the country.
The free service for your oil check, your tire rotation, the wiper blades. We are going into collaborations with a whole lot of auto-related auto shops that are endorsed, that are going to be endorsed by Coscharis and Ford. And that tells you that you have the probability of having the Ford car being fixed at every neighborhood.
The Explorer would go for between 11.8 to 14.5 million naira. And according to Coscharis, financial plans are being put in place to give you a Ford you can afford.
Still ahead on the news at 10, International Table Tennis Federation confirms Nigeria's Aruno Kadri as top seed for this month's Nigeria Open. We'll have more in sports news. Please join us again.